Astrobot is a phenomenon right now. It's a game that's getting perfect scores from pretty much every single publication out there. I'd probably struggle to find anything below a 9 for Astrobot right now. It's mainly 10s, and it's not just from game journalists. Almost every single person I know that's played Astrobot is singing its praises about how this should 100% be the game of the year, and it's not close. So I just finished it. And the question must be asked, why can't I grow facial hair in these two areas on my face? It's infuriating, which then raises an additional question, does Astrobot live up to the hype? Is it actually this perfect masterpiece that so many people are claiming that it is? Because Astrobot is getting more glaze than my trousers when I think about good boobies. Is it really that amazing? Yes. From the very first trailer, I was sold on this game. It just looks like a classic platforming experience that's simple, fun, creative, colorful, and just a joy. Charming. And I'm happy to say that it matched my expectations and it lives up to all of the hype. It really is just pure fun. Now, one of the biggest criticisms I see for this game from people that want to throw cold water on the face of anyone enjoying it is that it's a glorified ad. Yeah, no shit, but it's still like a really fun game. It is just a PlayStation advertisement. It's basically taking a walk down the memory lane here, where you basically glup shitto like a Star Wars fan, pointing at the screen like, oh, I get that reference. Oh, I know that cameo. Because in Astrobot, what you're doing is you're rebuilding a PlayStation 5 after it gets fucking robbed by one of the aliens from the Jimmy Neutron movie. And then you're putting all the pieces back together. And to do that, you need to defeat some enemies, defeat some bosses, and along the way, you're saving some bots. And some of those bots are cameos from beloved PlayStation classics like Ape Escape, like Jak and Daxter. And it's really refreshing to remember how great some of these IPs that Sony does nothing with were, and still are. A lot of these games really still hold up in the modern age. And then there's skins from other games, like Bloodborne. Dankin said during my stream that Astrobot has done more for Bloodborne than Sony has in the last 10 years. And he's 100% right. Sony just lets that fester and die in their fucking putrid butthole, along with many other IP that Sony just trap in the dungeon, fucking lock away in a sarcophagus, and then call the wambulance wondering where'd all our great IP go. It's refreshing to see life with these properties in Astrobot. There's games that I grew up on represented in here, and it's really just nice. It's a feel-good experience. The levels are creative. You pick up some power-ups that'll give you more options besides just the normal punch and jump. So you'll get like little frog clampers where you'll be like fucking shooting little frog faces out there to blow things up and attack enemies. You'll get a time-stopping watch to help with solving puzzles. There's secret levels, there's challenge levels, and there's a lot of fun boss fights. It is a simple, enjoyable game. It's not a very long game. I didn't 100% it or anything, but it took me about 7 hours and some change to just finish it. And I did get a lot of it done, but there's still a lot more that I have to do. There's a lot of secret levels I missed. I didn't do every challenge level. I didn't find every puzzle piece. And from what I've read, to platinum trophy this game, it's like 10 to 12 hours. So to 100% it, you'll be putting in a little over 10 hours. And I think it's not like a short experience when it's one that is so memorable and one that's probably going to have you smiling from start to finish. I really don't have a single complaint for this game. I couldn't even fucking nitpick something if I wanted to. There is really nothing that this game does poorly. Everything it does extremely well. It controls great. It's visually wonderful. There's really fucking crazy physics to this as well that you'll also use to be solving puzzles. There's so much creativity. It oozes style. Every level is distinct and unique. I actually just can't think of anything that I could try and say as a negative about the game. Like, the only one you might be able to say is that it's too short for some people's taste, but for me, I think it's perfect length. Now, while I do think this is going to be a very strong Game of the Year contender, I don't think it's like a guaranteed slam dunk landslide victory for Astrobot. It's been a really good year for games. It's not my favorite game of the year. It's in my top 3, but my favorite game of the year is still Black Myth Wukong. My second favorite game is Space Marine 2, and then just barely behind Space Marine 2 is Astrobot. Those two are fucking shitting and spitting for that number 2 spot. And maybe when I go back and 100% Astrobot, that ranking will move from 3 to 2. But I don't think it's going to beat Black Myth Wukong in my eyes. It's a very good year for games, and I do see a world where Astrobot wins Game of the Year. This is a game that I think appeals to pretty much anyone of any taste. You'd have to be pretty joyless to find things to hate about Astrobot. I do think there are people that might not appreciate it all that much, especially if there's someone whose tastes are more in line with something that's deeper or more narrative heavy or more action oriented. Like, maybe there's just not a whole lot of things that you like about puzzle solving, and, you know, Astrobot might not be for you. If you don't like platforming, Astrobot might not be for you. But it is objectively good in all of the departments that Astrobot inhabits. It is very good with puzzles. It's very good with platforming. Now, while it's not a challenging game, I don't think it needs to be, because it's still just a really fun game. And there is a challenge to it, like there are challenge realms which do present you with difficult shit, but overall it is an easy game, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Also, I need to mention this, the music in Astrobot is extraordinary. Especially in the boss levels, this has boner jams out the wazoo. I was blown away by how good the music was in here. Like, I was bouncing up and down in my seat for some of these tracks. I really do think Astrobot is just a game that pretty much anyone can pick up a controller and really, really have a great time with. Even if you're someone who didn't, like, grow up on PlayStation property, like, you don't even know what the fuck Ape Escape is, so the whole Ape Escape planet, like, means nothing to you, you'll probably still really like it because it's just a really well-made game. So, I do think Astrobot is 100% worth buying. But I don't think you should go out and buy a PlayStation 5 just to play it. And please, Lord help us, don't buy the PlayStation 5 Pro for 700 clams just to play Astrobot. Don't buy that at all, by the way. I already made a video ranting about the absurdity of the PS5 Pro pricing. No disk drive, no stand, and $700 for a moderate upgrade to the existing PlayStation 5. But anyway, the point I'm making is I don't think it's a system seller type of game where it's so amazing that you need to go out right now and find a PlayStation 5 before it's too late. You need to experience Astrobot right now. This is a game where if you have a PlayStation 5, this is a must-own title. But I don't think you need to go spend a ton of money to get the PlayStation 5 just to play Astrobot. It is a game that you will have a great 10 to 12 hours with, and you might replay it every now and then just because it's really enjoyable to play. But I don't think it's a game you're going to be pumping like 30, 40, 50 hours into, you know what I mean? But I think it is extraordinary. I think it absolutely lives up to the hype, and I definitely think it is a game that is 100% worth buying. That's about it. See ya.